The desert sun beat down mercilessly as dust swirled around the silent helicopter lying dead on the remote landing strip. Soldiers moved anxiously in every direction, radios crackling with static, while a group of technicians crouched beneath the massive machine, their tools clattering in frustration. Minutes had turned into hours, and still, the rotors refused to spin. The weight of urgency pressed heavier with each passing second, because inside the grounded helicopter lay medical supplies meant for a children's hospital far beyond the mountains, where a disease outbreak threatened lives. A general, stern and decorated, wiped the sweat from his brow as his officers exchanged nervous glances. The helicopter was essential, yet every fix had failed. The hum of generators, the smell of burning oil, the tension in the air, it was unbearable. Then, in the silence that followed another failed attempt, a voice broke through. "There's one man," the general muttered, almost to himself. "If anyone can do this, it's him." His officers leaned closer. "He's not just a mechanic. He's a veteran, a father, a man who's rebuilt machines from nothing. But he left service years ago." That man was Daniel Hayes, a single dad who had once served as a helicopter technician in the military. He lived quietly now in a small town, raising his daughter Emily after losing his wife in a tragic accident. Life had become simple, fixing tractors, repairing neighbors' cars, teaching his daughter resilience and kindness. Yet deep inside, Daniel carried memories of his service, nights spent under burning skies, coaxing broken machines to life when lives depended on it. He thought those days were behind him. Until the phone rang. The general's voice carried urgency and respect. "Daniel, the helicopter's down. My technicians can't bring her back. We need you. Children's lives are on the line. I wouldn't call if it wasn't desperate." Daniel hesitated. He looked at Emily, sitting at the table coloring, her eyes full of innocence. He had promised her he wouldn't return to the battlefield of chaos. But she looked back at him and whispered, "Dad, you always tell me heroes show up when it's hardest. You should go." That was all he needed. Daniel arrived at the base to skeptical stares. Soldiers whispered about the man in worn boots and a faded jacket, not in uniform, not part of the system anymore. But the general greeted him with a firm handshake. "Glad you came." Without hesitation, Daniel crawled beneath the giant machine. His hands moved with a memory that seemed almost sacred, checking fuel lines, recalibrating valves, listening to the groan of metal as though it spoke only to him. The technician stood aside, watching in silence. He worked through the night, grease on his hands, sweat stinging his eyes, whispering prayers between the roar of tools. At one point, everything seemed to collapse. A fuel pump refused to engage, and one officer muttered, "He's wasting time. We should call it off." Daniel froze for a moment, the weight of failure pressing down. He thought of Emily, asleep at home, believing her father was a hero. He thought of the children in that hospital bed, waiting for medicine. With a deep breath, he pulled a piece of wire from his pocket, a trick he'd learned years ago, and rigged a bypass. The system hummed back to life. Slowly, carefully, he turned the ignition. The blades groaned, then spun. Once, twice, faster and faster until the helicopter roared alive, blades slicing the air like thunder. The technicians stood frozen, then erupted into cheers. The general, a hardened man, wiped his eyes. "I knew you'd do it, Daniel." But Daniel didn't bask in glory. He only whispered, "Get those supplies to the children." As the helicopter lifted into the sunrise, carrying hope over the mountains, Daniel walked back alone. He didn't want medals or applause. His heart was already full, knowing his work had given life to others. When he arrived home, Emily ran into his arms. "Did you save them, Dad?" she asked softly. He smiled and kissed her forehead. "We saved them, sweetheart. Because you believed in me." Viewers, if this story touched your heart, let it remind you that true heroes don't wear capes or chase recognition. They are fathers, mothers, neighbors, ordinary people who step up when the world needs them most. And just like Daniel, you carry that same light within you. If you believe in courage, in sacrifice, in hope, like this story, then give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Share it so others can feel the power of one person's choice to make a difference. Because sometimes, one single act of bravery changes the course of countless lives. And maybe, just maybe, the next hero is you.